Whew. Good morning, everyone. Literally just got home, ran down the stairs, used the restroom, and then flew into the office. And good morning. Thank you for being here. It is October 16th, 2021. We started a little later today. So thanks to everybody being here. You'll notice I scheduled it way early in the morning. We had to leave. So my wife, so every year there's like this, they call it the Spoon River Scenic Drive. And it's like all these crafters and antiquers and stuff, and they all get together, and it's multiple counties around us. And my wife went and she bought we have a stone. We bought a stone a couple of years ago at one of the local fairs by a guy that makes monuments. And it says Howe, and then established 2003. That's the year we were married. And then she ran into a guy doing monuments, and so she bought a rock that has our address on it. So that was pretty cool. We had to go pick it up this morning. Some gun weighs north of 125 pounds. So I got a little dirt on my jeans this morning because I lifted it and put it into the van. But literally, like, the timing on everything was like whoosh, whoosh. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Let me run over to the comments real quick. Walks-it, good morning. Yes, JH, everybody had time to get coffee. I had coffee at 5 o'clock this morning. My wife made some awesome smelling coffee. Not 100% sure what it was, but then we stopped. Casey's is one of the local, well, they're out of Iowa, and they've got hundreds of locations, but we stopped and got coffee. So Ressi says he's enjoying a single malt. Yes. So in the land down under, it would be whiskey time. Good morning, Ralph, admin engineer. RL Woodleaf, good morning. Jacob Johnson, good morning. CH, good morning. Good morning, Bob Carpenter. Zach James. Who else is here? TN Bighorn Blaine. I'm seeing everybody. Good morning, Joe with Cajoli Tech. We were just had a conversation about paying our debt with the steak dinner, and we're trying to figure the logistics of that out. So we need to get together on that. Good morning, Alan. Bob, TVJ. Prentice, good morning. Jan. Tony with Quick Tech is in the house. Thank you, Bob. Bob is moderating. He's dropping everybody's channel links. If you're not subscribed to all of the other YouTubers that are here, do yourself a favor and go out and check out their content. They got some pretty good stuff. Although Joe from Cajoling Tech broke my heart. He's turned to the dark side, ordered an actual Netgate piece of hardware. So at least the CEO won't go trash talk on Joe's Twitter. I think that's what it was. He was afraid of the bad tweets. Good morning, Dave Robertson, CJ, Mario, JC, Gary. I love that everybody is here this morning. Fantastic. Super Marula, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Morning, Dale. Morning, Tom. All right. So, how is everybody this morning? That's the first thing. Make sure everybody's good. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. We're getting close to Halloween. If you follow me on the other social media platforms, you'll see all kinds of Halloween pictures. Tonight, you're going to see. So I'm trying to get my wife into bourbon. I'm trying to get everybody into bourbon that responsibly, right? I understand that some people can't do that. But I'm trying to get my wife, because I love to unwind with a nice adult beverage, right? And so I have picked up a few bottles that I think are good for beginners. One of them is Four Roses single barrel. And then we've got Woodford Reserve double barreled. So we're going to see how that goes. But we're going to do that tonight. We're going to make a game out of it, right? So we watch a lot of medical shows like The Good Doctor, The Resident, Chicago Med. We also watch Law and Order. We never watch anything in real time. We're huge DVR people just because we're running to the four corners, right? So we pick a time, we watch TV, and So what we're going to do is we're going to make a game out of it. We're going to have our beverages, and then we're going to pick a word, and then whenever they use the word, then you take a sip. It's going to be nice. But I want to like have her smell it, see if she can smell what's going on in the bourbon. I think it'll be fun. All right. Looks like David Bott's with us. I think it's David. Thanks. Yeah, my wife bought this for me for the office, the Beetlejuice sign. I love it too. And Beetlejuice. Don't say it the third time. Joe, don't say it the third time. All right. Morning, Dennis. Dennis, I am glad you are with us, my friend. Dennis from Indianapolis. After dark, good morning. JC says you need to visit the Whiskey Museum in Scotland someday. So Scotland and Ireland are both on our list. Gary Adams, Jefferson Reserve. I've heard that Jefferson Reserve is a good bourbon for beginners. I myself have not tried Jefferson Reserve. However, I did see it last night, so I thought about checking it out. All right, first technical question. Blaine says, thoughts on Windows 11 TPM 2.0 requirements. So I don't think that it's going to change much as far as actual security. We're constantly having conversations about security, and they're pushing this TPM, but you already see there's registry hacks on how to use Windows 11. Either install it on a VPN, a virtual machine that cannot emulate a TPM2, or to install it on devices that don't have TPMs, right? So I don't know. My wife's laptop, she helps keep the books, keep things running for the business. So we bought her a laptop a couple of years ago at Costco, and it's an HP. I think it was a Pavilion. Anyway, it's got a 5-year warranty because Costco kicked in a couple extra years, which was fantastic. But it's an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, SSD, higher end video card. And the thing was, it was $1,000 or less. And so when we ran across it, I was like, well, you want a good machine, and it updated night before last. She clicked the button, pulled the lever, twisted the knob to upgrade to Windows 11. She hasn't turned it back on yet. So we'll see how that goes. All right, over to the comments. Oh, Bob, Angel's Envy. Coming up on Halloween, I may have to pick that up. Oh, sorry, Dennis. Yes, Dennis is in Evansville. Evansville, Indiana was the very first place I saw a Garth Brooks concert back in the 90s. Daryl, hello from Missouri. Actually, the state of Missouri, so I'm in Illinois, and I like Illinois. I live here, obviously. But there's a lot of states around Illinois that have other advantages to them. The one thing about Illinois is they are taxing us to the hilt. As bad as the politics are here, and the taxes, they do have good consumer privacy and good consumer protection laws, right? So you gotta, we'll see. Let's see. Supreme Rula. I was totally reading that wrong. It says if it's in the internet, it's vulnerable. Yeah, if it's made by man, it's probably vulnerable, right? Lost Cowboy says thoughts on Windows 11 not supporting Intel 7th gen or earlier. So I do think that as the software requirements, get more steep, that we have to see this natural progression of phasing out older hardware. What the actual age on that hardware is, so I have people that I depend on for PC specs and stuff like that, because you can wrap up a lot of time dealing with server and PC specs. And so I have people that I turn to, people that watch those kinds of things. Like I watch security and I watch networking and virtualization and a few things like that. I have people who are hardware experts, and I can see if I can get somebody on here. If you would all like me to get a guest on the show, I can bring somebody on to talk about that if you want. Ralph says, looking for a good NEMA box for fiber, 4 or 8 pair. Ooh. Have to, I don't know. If you look at, I'm trying to remember. So the last NEMA box I got, and we needed it in a pinch, and I ordered it off of Amazon, and I want to say, it was between $30 and $40, but it's big enough to fit a nano switch and a flex switch in. I don't know if that's how big you're looking for or not, but Supreme Rula says, I still can't believe Microsoft hasn't natively supported lock screen on multiple monitors yet. Explain that. I don't know what that comment means. JH says, Microsoft should have just dropped the Windows name because too many people are going to see the name and assume it's going to work. They should have called it Edge OS and made a Chrome OS competitor. Well, JH, I agree with a lot of that because you can see the marketing, you can see the business plan. Here's the thing. So somebody asked earlier, who was it? Maybe an After Dark. I don't know if it was After Dark. Somebody up above asked me, let me find the question, and I wanted to get to it. It was JH. Have you used the Synology cloud service they just came out with? So I believe that hybrid is the future, right? Cloud's got its place, but I mean, every week, if you're using a cloud-based service and they don't provide a status monitor, first of all, that's a huge red flag for me. Second of all, sign up for the status, right? And like Square registers, Square is the big player, right? They sit on the PCI Council. They help develop the rules. Square has a huge product, a huge following, and they have problems all the time. I mean, I just got a notification that Square registers were randomly rebooting. Well, guess what? That's all controlled by them in the cloud, right? So it's out of your hands. I believe hybrid is the future, right? And I think there are several things that are pushing that. I think it's security. I think it's cost. And I think that there is a healthy distrust of these companies. And I think that healthy distrust needs to exist. But you can see where Microsoft is heading with this. You know, they've already released the cloud virtual PC and they've all done this. You know, they're trying to get everything in the cloud. They've even changed their licensing model for Microsoft Exchange Server. They got a ton of blowback when they said you weren't going to be able to buy and install Microsoft Office and you weren't going to be able to buy and install Microsoft Exchange. They got a ton of blowback. It's fine for other people to say, well, there's no reason you should be hosting your own Exchange server. Well, there are a lot of companies that host their own Exchange server, and there's a lot of reasons for doing that. Email has a natural redelivery mechanism, you know, built into the standard. And so, well, maybe not into the standard, but into the softwares, there's a retry mechanism where most email servers will try to resend a message for at least 24 hours, right? But what Microsoft has now done has said, yes, you're going to be able to buy Office 2021. Here's the price. However, you're not going to get the new UI. You're not going to get these new features that we are now adding to the software. They've done the same thing with Microsoft Exchange. Well, let me back that up. Microsoft Exchange is a little bit different. So it allows you to run in hybrid where you're going to have a Microsoft Exchange server on site, but guess what? You never own the software. You're now going to pay that yearly fee for the software. This is becoming common practice for larger software packages. There is always going to be a market, a big market for on-prem software. That is never going to go away. At least I don't think by the time I retire, and I've got 25 years probably before I'll retire. I don't see that going away. So, all right, back over to the comments. By the way, thank you everybody for being here this morning. TVJ says, my mortgage payment is up over $100 a month due to taxes going up here in Ohio. Yeah, our property taxes here are almost $5,000. So our payment has fluctuated. So I feel for you, TVJ. All right. Let's see. Lost Cowboy says he has I'm assuming with the name Cowboy, maybe I shouldn't assume anymore, but Lost Cowboy says 2-year-old laptop won't upgrade. Real bummer. And that's why people are using the registry hack, right? Because there's fairly new hardware that's not upgrading. So that's, things we're going to have to deal with. JH says Microsoft is making more e-waste. Yeah. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to create more Mac users, and they're going to create more Linux advocates, maybe not more users. There's a joke out there. Look, I use Linux. I love Linux, but I'm not one of those people who tries to shove it on everybody, right? I believe in choice, which is why, I do own a MacBook Pro, the M1, but I can install Windows on it. I can install Linux on it, so it's not so bad. But like, you get a lot of these Linux users, that's all they want to talk about. That's all they want to push, so there's a joke, it's like, what do people who do CrossFit, vegans, and Linux users have in common? They'll all tell you about it, right? So there's like that joke. But and the thing is, with Linux, you maybe have too many choices. I know that sounds like a horrible thing for me to say, but maybe that's part of the problem, is the fragmentation with Linux. And After Dark is absolutely correct. FS Fiber, which is FiberStore, fs.com. FiberStore does have they have good everything for fiber stuff. CJ, and I'm probably going to slaughter your last name. Ramsayer? Sorry about that. CJ asks, what are your thoughts on suitable gear for a semi-mobile wireless setup? Need wireless equipment? Need wireless access to equipment that will be moved from site to site. Internet access not needed. I would need to know a little bit more, like, is it going to be mounted to a vehicle? Is it going to be mounted to a camper? Is it going to be something you're going to throw into a Pelican case and move around? I need a little bit more information about how it's going to be used. Supreme Ruler says, says, on my lock screen, the picture only shows on the main monitor. So when you do a Windows L or a Control-Alt-Delete and lock screen, the background only shows on one monitor. That's interesting. You know what? I didn't even notice that, and that's not even something that actually upsets me. So you're going to have to, I'm sure there's a small tribe of people who are thoroughly frustrated and upset about that. Ralph says, having a dead monitor until you sign in is a joke, and portrait not rotating. Oh, well, that's something different. Dennis says, I'm going to build my grandson a gaming computer. He helps me all the time with my stuff that needs to be done. Any suggestion for a good motherboard to start with? So I actually recommend Lenovo gaming computers. I know a ton of people love to build their own machines, and there's a lot of satisfaction that comes with that. I haven't built my own machine in a long time. Dennis, Bob Carpenter is a hardware guru. He is a moderator here. You can see him commenting. He's in the great country to the north of us that I think the United States should just swallow up Canada. What does everybody else think about that idea? Is that a crazy idea? Then it just becomes North America? North America? I don't know. We would figure the name out later, but I think we should just I'm just kidding. We should not take on Canada. But if you ask Bob, or if Bob's okay, I can share the contact information, and Bob is an excellent resource. Bob, I should just have you on for the hardware talk, dude. Sorry for forgetting about that earlier. All right. Guyber says, my home is a full UniFi stack. I would like to replace the USG with the Willie Howe Protectly that I purchased. What is the exact process? Is there a video showing this process? There is not. But by default, you'll notice when you plug into the Protectly, you get a 10.255.10. something address. So you would have to log in. You would have to change the LAN subnet. I could do a video on that. By the way, last week got a little out of control. We had to cancel our training session That is coming back in November. I'm going to offer a half a day and a full day training. And then the price is going to be a little lower. So there was just a few things that happened last week. Had to put that on the back burner. However, we did hit the 10 person mark for interest in the Grand Stream training. So I am working on the details for that. You will all see an email on that. But so last week I was emailing with Protectly, and I have to get them configs because that hardware that you were originally buying is all sold out. And of course, it's probably stuck on a container ship floating somewhere in the ocean. So they have other models in stock. I got to get the configs banged out for those. So that will be coming. JH says, once you get over 1,000 email boxes that are just lightly used, Office 365 gets expensive. It gets expensive before that. So I did a quote for like 370 mailboxes, and they all have to have archiving, legal litigation hold, all that stuff, which puts it in the higher tier of the government pricing. I mean, it was like $180,000 for the full meal deal. So $180,000, believe it or not, I can actually buy the licensing for that before the new model. I don't know what the pricing is with the new model, but the last version that I could buy and own, I could do it for, I could bought servers and rented rack space for $180,000. I could run an entire enterprise email solution out of, hosted, colos for years. Local software as a service. Yeah. So back to that. So Synology's hybrid solution, I believe, is they're taking Microsoft head on. We're going to be able to do authentication in the cloud. We're going to be able to do all these things. And they've got this really cool hybrid share where you can have multiple sites. You have one main NAS with all your files. And then you can say, okay, these files need to go to this site. These files need to go to this site. And it uses the Synology cloud to sprinkle your files wherever you need them, and then make sure that they're backed up. And then you can back up to C2. They've got a cloud-based password manager. Synology has really stepped up their game, and I'm super excited about the future with Synology. I'm super excited about QNAP too. QNAP has done a good job of, I think they've done a good job of recognizing their security issues, and they are working on that. They did send me a second QHORA router, so you're going to get to see some VPN stuff there, because I've got a customer in Wisconsin who is using the QNAP WAN orchestrator with the basically policy-based routing and things like that. Loves it. It's super easy to set up. And so I wanted to do videos on that. Michael Kellogg says, QuickBooks moving to I've got to get on QuickBooks. I do everything. This might surprise you, but I do everything in spreadsheets for my business. And I need to move to QuickBooks. So, I helped my uncles, do some ideas, and I got to do some social media stuff with them. But they got on QuickBooks right away. Everybody I know is moving to QuickBooks. I've got to get on QuickBooks. That's what I'm hearing. JH says, I gave up Microsoft Office in exchange for more open alternatives. I use Thunderbird for email and only Office for Office. Mail Plus for small. Mail Plus is fantastic. I'm going to do some videos on that. Joe from Texas, what do you want to do in retirement? What do I want to really do, or what did I tell? So for my day job, you'll find this interesting. When I got my job at where I work during the day, I had to go through a series of psychological tests. And, there was a critical thinking exam, which at the time I didn't recognize it as a critical thinking exam. I didn't fail. They rank you like where you're at, they give you an IQ test, and then they have a psychologist sit down with you, ask you questions and things like that. And at the time, my wife and I were really into like Quaker parrots, and I was like, how cool would it be to raise parrots? And so at the time, I told that guy, I'm going to retire and raise birds. That's totally not what I want to do now. What do I want to do in retirement? First, and I'm being serious, I don't want to die the first 5 years into retirement. My dad retired when he was 65. And he didn't make it a decade. Or maybe he was 63 when he retired. So maybe he did. He made it like 11 years. I want to live longer than that. And if I make it to 75, and I'm being honest, I think I'll be doing okay. But I think we're going to travel and things like that. So we'll see. I haven't really thought about it. It's going to be probably super expensive to retire, Joe, by the time you and I get there. So Tony, I think, got out while the getting was good. So D-Bot says move to Canada and then you'll stop complaining about high taxes. Yeah, there are places. I mean, but here's the thing, right? There's a group, there's people, you know, that there's people here that would love to have super high taxes. They don't recognize there's a lot of things. Our systems are just built different, right? So you all are awesomely blowing up the comments here this morning. There's 61 of you, only 29 thumbs up. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, that like button, to let the YouTube algorithm know that we do exist. Blaine says Windows 11 will not work on 3 of my PCs. Can anyone suggest a Linux distro? Ubuntu or Pop OS. And I think Pop OS is built on Ubuntu. So JH says, I daily drive Mint. Yeah, Mint Linux is good too. So the big advantage that Mint had was that in the beginning, Mint would include, you know, drivers and things that you weren't really supposed to include. So let's see here. Ron says, funny thing with the medical industry, hospitals, doctors, a very large portion of them still use Windows 7 to this day. Yeah, if you want to spend money, if you want to spend big bucks, you can still get Windows 7 support. They are probably not spending the big bucks. It made national headlines when the IRS wrote a big fat check to Microsoft for Windows 7 support. Let's see here. TVJ says, without the presence of an on-site mail server, how do you handle SMTP-based email alerts for things like copiers? Well, people do use Gmail, Office 365, and have accounts just for that, TVJ, but I'm right there with you. Let's see. A lot of good conversation going on in the comments here. Hey, James, tell James and his wife happy anniversary. James, are you even supposed to be tuned in here this morning? I know James took a couple days off from consulting and promised his wife no work this weekend. I try to do the same thing when we have special events coming up. So happy anniversary, James and his wife. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Good morning, Gibby. Hey, if you want to talk about Linux, there is Jeremy with Practical IT. Jeremy is full of Linux knowledge. Where's everybody going? Everybody's leaving? Like, is there a problem with the stream? Like, numbers are plummeting. What is going on? Maybe it's just me this morning. All right, let's see. All right, Tony says Bob would be an awesome guest. And Joe says, I agree. I'm bringing Bob. We're going to have to talk. I think we're going to have to get you on and talk about hardware. So Bob does work for Lenovo. And so we'll have to see if we can get Bob on the live stream. Andrew May says, I'm moving to spreadsheets. Yeah. Gibby says, trying to sell them Grandstream. Any news on the switches? So I heard that Q4 is still the target for the switches. So we'll have to see what happens there. Ooh, so there is going to be a new Grandstream device. I can't talk about it until I get it in my hands. Grandstream is one of the companies that allows me to blast beta stuff out there. They sometimes are like, yeah, just do it. But they've got a new device coming. I've got to make sure I got the clearance, but you are going to be blown away with the new Grandstream device. All right, let's see here. Alonzo Smith says he is looking at 62 to retire. Yeah, I think a lot of people here try to get to that close to that number where you can draw your Social Security and things like that. All right, Jacob says, could just be me, but I break Pop OS within a week every time I use it. Could just be you. All right, let's see here. Back to the comments. What distro I run? I had Pop! OS going, but I run Ubuntu mainly. Any server stuff is going to be Ubuntu or Debian. Works in a place that has to be HIPAA compliant, and she does not have to get escorted. So interesting to see. I wonder what kind of place your wife worked at there. Ron Alcorn says, does Synology have anything like Ubiquiti Viewport PoE for 24/7? They do have a device that's meant for viewing cameras. It is not PoE though. And they actually, I don't know if there's any in the pipeline. You have to check it out, but it's a little thin device. It's probably about maybe 3 of these put together surface area. So, let's see. Ressi says, does Ubuntu still call home? I have no idea. If you set it up to auto update, sure, it's going to call home. So yeah, you're going to see, I am going to start hosting my email on Synology. Oh, did the stream temporarily drop? Is the stream back? I don't know. Can you all hear me? It seems glitchy today. You know what? My ISPs have been having some problems this week. So there's 46 of you. Stream is fine now. We hear you. Yes. Yeah. Oh, YouTube, your connection is unstable. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to have to get a second ISP. But there we are. We've been streaming for a half hour. I need to get in the shower. My wife didn't even let me shower this morning. Can you believe that? But we'll do another live stream before Saturday. We'll have to see. But I got to finish my coffee. I got to hop in the shower, brush my teeth, all that good stuff. And got some running around to do. So I want to thank you all for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you need IT consulting, go to williehowe.com, fill out that contact form. And as always, I will see you in the next video.